Hi, we're here live outside doggy daycare in Harlem. Apparently it's the #1 doggy daycare in Harlem. Hopefully we can see some doggies and interview them. But from the House of Songo, this is Gaytopix, the only gay source for hot topics and gay news. Good afternoon. Today is October 3rd, 2019. It's Throwback Diva Thursdays. That's right, it's Throwback Divas. Hashtag Throwback Divas. Please comment and drop those emojis. Welcome to my house. Thank you for being here. I'm your host, PAPISONGO, the only host to bring you the latest gay and lesbian headlines and breaking news. Let's get started with my Throwback Diva of the Week. Bewitched is a very well-known and beloved sitcom from the 60s and 70s that revolved around the cheeky and charming witch named Samantha Stevens, her mortal husband Darren, and their unusual household. People went crazy over Elizabeth Montgomery's nose wiggles, the fun characters, and all the magic included in the series. The show was so popular that it went on for an unprecedented 8th season, making it the longest running supernatural themed series of the 60s and 70s. However, there are some things you might not know about the popular show, and here are some facts that you didn't know about Bewitched. Number 1, Elizabeth Montgomery played multiple roles, as most of you know. Elizabeth Montgomery starred as the beloved main character in Bewitched, Samantha. Well, in TV, lots of things are subject to change. At some point, she also took on the role of Samantha's cousin Serena, a progressive hippie-type witch who always manages to get on Samantha's nerves. Serena has a distinctive mark on her cheek that changes shape in every episode, such as a heart or a fish. The resemblance between Serena and Samantha is unremarkable. But Montgomery apparently wasn't able to fool some of the show's staff the first time she wore the Serena wig. Also, you look at all the credits, the role of Serena is credited to be Pandora Spooks, a play off of the word of Pandora's box. Number 2, Samantha's nose wiggles was part of camera magic. Now that is groundbreaking news. The signature part of the show was Samantha's nose wiggles. Erin Murphy, who played the character's daughter, and said that the wiggle is actually a camera trick. Can you believe it? Samantha's nose didn't wiggle. But if you look very closely, you'll notice that it's just her upper lip that's moving. The wiggle was based on a twitch that Montgomery had in real life when she got nervous. To enhance the wiggle, the film was sped up slightly and accompanied by the classic xylophone sound. Many fans believe that Montgomery got the role because of her nose wiggle ability, but she was actually already cast for the part by the time the nose idea came up. Number 3, actress Marianne Lorne had a pretty kooky character. Actress Marianne Lorne played the quirky Aunt Clara. Oh, Aunt Clara. Real life Lorne had a thing with doorknobs, and it made for its way into the script, based on the actress's actual adoration for them. The odd obsession only added to the lovable Aunt Clara, who constantly forgetting things and spells regularly, ended in disaster due to her losing her powers at old age. Apparently, Lauren had a collection of over 1,000 antique doorknobs. She even used some of the doorknobs for her personal collection as props in the series. Wonder where she put them all. Lauren appeared in 27 episodes and sadly died in 1968 of a heart attack. She was never replaced in the series. Number 4, season finale to forget. Generally, producers went to the final episode of the series to be memorable one. This certainly wasn't the case for Bewitched. Did it look familiar to you? It should have. The final episode, The Truth, Nothing But the Truth, So Help Me Sam, was nothing more of a rerun of a 1965 entitled Speak the Truth, and Doris, suspicious of Darren, casts a spell on Samantha's pin, causing everyone in proximity to tell the truth. Fights ensue as Darren's work and at home when he has clients over for cocktails. In the end, everything works out with the clients, and Darren and Samantha truthfully professes their love to one another. Number 5, the nosy neighbor with a dark secret. Alice Pierce, better known as Gladys the Nosy Neighbor, appeared on the show from 1954 to 1966. But she kept a huge secret to herself as she took it apart. She had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. She never told any of her co-stars. Pierce was diagnosed with ovarian cancer around 4 months prior to landing the gig on Bewitched, and never shown signs that she was ill. at least not to the cast members or producers noticed. She was awarded the Outstanding Supporting Actress Emmy Award for her role as Alice. Number 6, Darian's back injury. Dick York, the first actor who played Darren, suffered a severe back injury in 1959 during a filming of the movie They Came to Cordora from the 3rd season of Bewitched. York had health issues that delayed production of the series. Many episodes were written so that York could be seated or lying down. As a result, his character, Darren, was frequently away on business. And in January 1969, York collapsed during the filming of episode Daddy Does His Thing. He never returned to the set after that. Dick Sargent, who was cast the very same month to replace York. Audience who were apparently not pleased with the swap, seeing as how the ratings significantly dropped after the switch. 7. Repeating and borrowing. As the series started to decline in popularity, so did the show's writing. After Dick York suddenly left the show, much of the audience started losing interest. As a result, many episodes were just copies of previous Bewitched episodes or storyline copies of other shows. William Asher, the producer of the show, was also the director of the beloved sitcom I Love Lucy. Some of the Bewitched episodes were direct copies of I Love Lucy storylines, such as the episode entitled Samantha's Power Failure. The episode features Serena and Uncle Arthur working at a candy factory, dipping bananas in chocolate and nuts, then packing them. Number 8, 3 sets of twins played Tabitha. The Olsen twins weren't the only cute twins that shared a role in TV series. Bewitched, however, took a different approach and multiple sets of twins to fill the role of Tabitha. In season 2 episode, and then there were 3, Samantha and Darren had a baby daughter named Tabitha. The infant is played by Cynthia Black. Then she got replaced by twins Heidi and Lori Genty. And then again by twins Tamra and Julie Young. Finally, the producers stuck with the twin toddlers, Diane Murphy and Erin Murphy, who shared the role starring in season 2. Number 9, long live the Queen. Despite Samantha's unorthodox lifestyle, she was appointed Queen of the Witches after the former queen abducted from the throne. Just goes to show you that strong will and having the beliefs pays off. But Samantha didn't accept the position willingly. Darren didn't want her to be the queen, and Sam herself didn't want to take the role and juggle the responsibilities of having a family and taking the queen. In the end, everything worked out, so all hail the queen. Number 10, Endora was older than sliced bread. We all know that witches and bewitched live much longer than mortals. Throughout the series, many references are made to Endora's age. In one episode, Endora states that she dated Otzi the Iceman, who lived around 3500 BC. That would make her 5,500 years old. Her daughter Samantha is believed to have been born between 1570 and 1600, making her over 400 years old. The Bewitched curse. Elizabeth Montgomery was diagnosed with colon cancer and struggled with the disease for many years. At one point, her doctors believed that she was cancer-free after treatment, but the cancer returned and spread to her liver. Refusing to die in a hospital, she spent her last days at home with her husband, Robert Foxworth. Montgomery died on June 18, 1995. She was 62 years old. Such a large percentage of the cast died of cancer that people refer to it as the Bewitched curse. One researcher calculated that 85% of the cast has died from cancer. Number 12, the case of the 2 Darrens. More than one actor who used to play the character of Samantha's husband, Darren. Dick York was replaced by Dick Sargent without any type of acknowledgement by the characters in the show. They just kept going as usual. The show's producers hoped that audience wouldn't be able to tell much of a difference and accepted the new actor in the beloved role of Darren. The sudden switch between actors came to be dubbed the Darren Syndrome. Unfortunately for them, the switch was noticed by audiences worldwide and they weren't very forgiving. 13, the theme song actually has lyrics. The famous Bewitched theme song is so catchy and definitely familiar, but you couldn't really sing it because it didn't have any words. Yes, that is entirely true. While we never heard the lyrics sung in the opening, they do exist. Howard Greenfield and Jack Keller wrote and composed the theme song for Bewitched. but the producers decided to go with the instrumental version instead. Bewitched, bewitched, you've got to be mine in your spell. Number 14, Darren wasn't the only switched out character. Darren wasn't the only character on the show to be swapped out. The nosy neighbor Gladys Kravitz was also played by 2 actresses. The character was well known for her overly dramatic freakouts and high-pitched screams. First, Alice Pierce took the role, and later the role was given to Sandra Gold. The character was so beloved that it won Pierce a Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy. 15, Bewitched set was a hand-me-down. As much as you would like to think that every location we see on TV and in movies is real and unique, chances are the set was used before and will be used again. If you have a really good eye for detail, you'll start noticing that the house popping up in other series and films. The set is used in 1959 movie Gidget, was actually a real house in Santa Monica, and the blueprint design was later reversed and reproduced for the set of Bewitched. Columbia Pictures also used the patio and living room sets for Gidget Goes to Rome in 1963. Viral series I Dream of Jeannie also used the set, making it quite magical. Number 16, Samantha's original name was Cassandra. Cassandra just doesn't seem like the right name for a young-looking blonde who wins the heart of a mortal. In the beginning, developers of the ABC show Soul Sax had the actress Tammy Grimes in the mind to play the main character and planned on naming the witch Cassandra. The English actress, however, turned down the role after she read the script and decided instead to pursue her own series, The Tammy Grimes Show. The show was, however, short-lived. The Tammy Grimes Show was poorly received and canceled after just 4 episodes. Damn. We wonder if she has any regrets considering how popular Bewitched had become. Number 17. Dick York had a seizure on set. Actor Dick York had a seizure on set of Bewitched and was rushed to the hospital. He never returned to his role as Darren. He tore the muscles along the right side of his back in an accident on a set of the movie. They came to Cordera, setting his life and career on a downward spiral. York, while attempting to recover, became addicted to painkillers. He eventually broke the habit, but his physical body never healed. York died of complications with emphysema in 1992 at the age of 63. His role of Darren was replaced by actor Dick Sargent, who was originally offered the role. Number 18, Dick Sargent made a bold move. Darren number 2, Dick Sargent, made headlines in 1991 when he came out the closet as gay on National Coming Out Day. He became an outspoken advocate for gay rights issues, citing high rates of gay teen suicide in the as the main reason. Sargent was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and his poor health led many to falsely assume that he suffered from AIDS and died in 1994 at the age of 64. Montgomery, upon hearing of his passing away, said, "He was a great friend, and I will miss his love, his sense of humor, and his remarkable courage." Number 18, the Kravitz shared the house with another TV series. Just like Samantha and Darren's house was used by other shows and movies, the nosy neighbor's house was also a hand-me-down. On a set, the Kravitz and Stevens were actually neighbors. In fact, the Kravitz house was down the street from the Stevens house and was used for other shows as well. From 1964 to 1966, the show was used on The Donna Reed Show. Then later it was used in The Partridge Family at the same time. This must have been a popular house, seeing that it was used for over 50 years. Number 20, Bewitched had a rival show. Bewitched was the only show airing in the 60s that was about a young woman with magical powers. The creator of I Dream of Jeannie, Sidney Sheldon, was inspired by Bewitched and its success. hence why he aired the show on the rival network NBC. I Dream of Jeannie came out a year later in 1965, and although it wasn't as popular as Bewitched, Elizabeth Montgomery wasn't happy with the counterpart, the magical genie. She reportedly considered the show to be nothing more than a creative theft. I mean, they are both magical and blonde women who fall in love with a mortal man. We love the recurring characters. As beloved as the main characters were, fans love seeing the recurring characters who were playing by amazing actors. Paul Lindy, the actor who played Harry McPhee in Bye Bye Birdie, was in 10 episodes of Bewitched, playing Uncle Arthur. Lindy played Samantha's mother, prankster brother, and he was always making us laugh with his crazy shenanigans. We also got to see Bernard Fox, Dr. Barnaby, Alice Ghostly, and Maribel Alisbin, Phyllis Stevens. 22. Richard Dreyfuss' first role was in Bewitched. You may know the actor Richard Dreyfuss from his roles in Jaws, Stand By Me, The Good Girl, and many others. But before his acting career set off, he was a young man in Hollywood trying to be cast. Bewitched ended up being one of the first major TV roles. He was in the episode Man's Best Friend and played the character Rodney, a warlock that Samantha used to babysit. You have to start somewhere. 23. Montgomery eventually got tired of being a witch. You can play the same role for as long before you get tired of it. Bewitched lasted for 8 seasons and 254 episodes, which is a lot considering it was shown in the 1960s and 70s. Elizabeth Montgomery was the only character to appear in every episode. After the 5th season, she wanted to quit. I mean, she was a mother for 3 kids and for 5 seasons, and that was a lot. Yet the producers didn't want to lose her, so they offered her more than enough money so she could say no. There's also a spin-off about Tabitha, with a good show coming off a couple spin-offs to keep some of the good characters alive, and better choice than the actress Tabitha. 5 years after Bewitched ended in 1972, there was a spin-off series called Tabitha, based on the adult life of Tabitha Stevens. The show aired on ABC but didn't feature the original actress Erin Murphy, and Lisa Hartman was cast to play the older daughter. The show didn't last very long, and there were a lot of continual differences. 25. Darren's secretary was played by many actresses. Ever noticed how Darren's secretary at McMahon and Tate seemed to be a different woman many times throughout the series? Well, the producers never stuck with one actress playing Betty, and I guess since she was a minor character, they didn't think the audience would notice. Marcia Wallace, one of the many actresses to play the secretary, and she would later go on to voice the Simpsons character Edna Krabappel. Jill Foster also played Betty for 10 episodes. Number 26, Not Afraid to Be Different. On top of being a feminist pioneer in the television world, Montgomery was also a witch pioneer. Her character Samantha was never afraid of being different from other witches, even if that meant suffering hardships due to her choices and beliefs. Her marrying a mortal came as a huge price, both in the magical community and with the mortals. Taking out the page of I Love Lucy playbook, Samantha's mother, Endora, almost never pronounces Darren's name correctly to show the disappointment to him. Endora referred to Darren by many names such as Doblin, Durwood, Delmore, Darrell, and more. Pretty much any name that started with a D, apart from Darren. Endora also correctly addresses him as Darren 8 times during the entire series. Richard Crenna admits to almost being Darren. When the show was first being created, an actor by the name of Richard Sargent was also originally going to play the character of Darren Stevens. The only thing was that Sargent accepted another role. In short, Crenna was probably not the first choice of the crew, but without him, we may or may not have known the Darren syndrome. Crenna declined the role. 28. York's role. As we mentioned earlier, Richard Crenna declined the part of Darren, as he had recently invested a lot of time on The Real McCoys. Dick York was a runner-up, so he ended up getting the role. Later on, Dick Sargent replaced him, but who knows what would have actually happened if he had been there all 8 seasons. Number 29, Elizabeth Montgomery's pregnancies. During the film of the entire series, Elizabeth Montgomery was pregnant a total of 3 times. Her first child was born in 1964, and what's really cool about her pregnancies is that the writers and producers squeezed the pregnancy into the script, and it made everything work naturally. This way, Adam and Tabitha were added to the Stevens clan, and it all unfolded smoothly. Montgomery even decided to name her on-set daughter Tabitha. She liked the name because it sounded old-fashioned. If you look closely, however, the name also appears as Tabitha on the credit roll. Montgomery says that she shudders every time she sees that mistake. Number 30, Dick York's big role. On the show, Dick York played the role of Darren, who was Samantha's husband. York was a well-known actor during the decade, simply because fans adored his character on Bewitched. But that wasn't York's only big break in television. He starred in a film called Inherit the Wind, which was also a major hit in the 60s. Such as claiming and good-looking actor can't be unnoticed for far too long. 31, the costume's origin. Louise's Tate, Samantha's closest mortal friend, was played by actress Casey Rogers. Rogers admitted that the role of supporting actors was required to provide their own costumes, and that clothing was brought into the studio roughly a week before shooting. What's hilarious about this is the fact that the costume department would take clothes and clean and iron them for the role to be ready on TV. Talk about service. A unique brooch. Actress Agnes Moorehead has this particular starburst diamond brooch where she wore often during filming. The brooch consisted of 8.5 carats of diamonds, old school ones, so they were huge and vintagely looking. Elizabeth Montgomery absolutely adored the brooch, and Moorehead bequeathed the brooch to her TV daughter when she passed away in 1974. Moorehead, like so many others on the Bewitched cast, died of cancer, specifically uterine cancer. She is remembered for her highly successful career that spanned 6 decades. Moorehead won 2 Golden Globes, a Primetime Emmy for the role as Endora. 33, off-camera friendships. One of the best parts of working in history is just like any other workplace. There are so many friendships formed off-set or after work hours. While Darren hated Endora on the series, the 2 actors were great friends off-set, and an amazing friendship stemmed from having worked together. Bewitched historian Herbie Pilato wrote in his book that Dick York absolutely loved Agnes Moorehead. Quite simply, the relationship between Dick York and Agnes Moorehead was the exact opposite of the relationship between Darren and Endora. The 2 reportedly bonded over their love of spirituality, according to Dick Sargent. Moorehead would arrive to the set with the Bible in one hand and the script in the other. 34. Moorehead's disapproval. Moorehead was quite a fan of Dick York's talent, and when he was replaced by Dick Sargent, she wasn't very happy. Their dislike of each other certainly created some epic passive-aggressive tension on the set. Perhaps for the character dynamic between Darren and Endora, Moorehead and Sargent reportedly had major fights on and off set. Sargent reduced Sargent to tears on multiple occasions. Their constant fighting, however, ended up bringing the 2 closer together. Moorehead and Sargent eventually became lifelong friends. 35. The creator publicly revealed his inspiration for the show. I Married a Witch and Belle, Book and Candle were the names of the first films that inspired the series. Soul Sachs, the creator, modeled the script of the pilot episode after the plots of the movies. In several interviews, he claimed that he wasn't super concerned about legal threats because both films were owned by Columbia as well as Screen Gems, which was the same company that created the series Bewitched. 36. Sweet Aunt Clara. Aunt Clara somehow managed to make herself seem sweeter to Darren. regardless of the fact that disliked the majority of Samantha's family in the script, but somehow she always seemed to bring out the best in Darren. Maybe it was her serene kookiness. If only people could be that polite in real life with their in-laws and their spouse's family. 37, the story behind Jonathan's name. On the show, when Louise and Larry Tate had a son, David White, the actor, made a huge request for the child to be named Jonathan. He made the request because in real life he actually had a son named Jonathan, who he'd been raised solely by White himself. The Sisters of Heart episode was written by the high school kids. The idea behind the story that was included in the series Sisters at Heart episode was written by 22 African American 10th graders from a high school in South Central Los Angeles. Most of the students were unable to read and write. The storyline dealt with racism and acceptance, themes of calming to the progressive series. The episode was regarded as thoughtful and masterfully handled such as a sensitive topic. Somewhat typically tough. At one point, the episode featured Darren, Samantha, and Tabitha in blackface, which certainly wouldn't be politically correct in today's standards, but as it was used as a tool to break down prejudice in racial audiences, and critics received the episode with open arms. 39. The series lives on even though the series ended in 1972, the cultural effects of Bewitched still being felt today in one of the most beloved series of the 60s and 70s, and ranks on TV Guide's 50th greatest shows of all time. A monument was even built in the series' honor. A statue of Samantha flying on a broomstick was unveiled in Salem, Massachusetts in 2005. The monument marked the show's 40th anniversary. Also, apart from the viewers everywhere is trying to wiggle their noses, the sitcom was one of the first feminist female sitcoms. Montgomery stood out for the others. Elizabeth Montgomery was well known for acting character of amazing beauty, but her personal life was a very different story. She succeeded in keeping it just that, private. Number 40, Elizabeth Montgomery stood up for others. Elizabeth Montgomery was well known for her acting career and her amazing beauty, but her personal life was a different story. She succeeded in keeping it just that, private. So much so that when she died in 1995, many of the obituaries neglected to mention that she was married to Robert Foxworth because they didn't know. What might surprise you about Montgomery is that she was a fierce supporter of gay rights long before being popular. Indeed, she was one of the earliest celebrities to support the cause. She also advocated against AIDS patients and volunteered at the peak of the AIDS crisis. Number 41, the Bewitched movie. In 2005, movie Bewitched attempted to continue the success of the series with actors Nicole Kidman and Will Ferrell. Sadly, that's not what happened. The movie was a critical and commercial failure. Movie critics said that the film was haunted by scattered laughs and a lack of direction. The new Bewitched also earned the two main actors a Golden Raspberry Award for the worst screen couple. Ouch for Nicole Kidman. Most of the blame fell on Ferrell, who played the role of Darren. He was also nominated for Worst Director, Worst Actor, and Worst Remake of a Sequel. It doesn't get any brutally honest than that. 42, Erin was the better twin. Well, that's awkward, but I guess you can't expect both of the toddlers to be as natural on TV. As you know, fraternal twins toddlers Diane Murphy and Erin Murphy shared the role of Tabitha Stevens starting in season 3. Erin seemed to be much more comfortable in front of the camera, and audiences loved watching Samantha's adorable little witch. That is why Erin was used more for talking scenes and close-ups. In later seasons, Diane would be dropped from the show because the twins started to look less alike. Talk about Sybil rivalry. 43, Potion of Youth. Many question how Elizabeth maintained her looks so well. Really, it's astonishing. And as though she put some sort of anti-aging spell on herself, and that it lasted ever since. I hope that when I get to that age that I can maintain my looks and youth with whatever she used to do to herself. She looked amazing and youthful throughout her life up until her utterly death in 1995. Samantha's magic. In the 1960s, CGI still didn't exist, so others mentioned of creating magic had to be made to get the point across. Stagehands was used the solution to creating Samantha's magical moments. The actress's stand were extended, and with the director had to yell out, "Cut!" In lieu of the CGI, the standards took away the likeness and obviously had a lot to do with part of the thing of the show. Intentions of tolerance. In the episode of Sisters at Heart, Samantha puts a spell on Darren's client, who is a bigot. The spell caused everyone around him, including himself, as to have black skin. For that, the actors in the act had to act in blackface, which would not be politically correct today. That's it for my edition of Throwback Divas. I will always miss you, Elizabeth Montgomery, on your Lifetime movie roles, and of course on Bewitched. You're my Throwback Diva of the week. Stay tuned tomorrow for Cliffhanger Fridays, where we talk everything about the gay porn industry, all your favorite porn stars, and more. I'm reporting live outside Harlem Doggy Daycare. Remember, you're always in the mix with Gaytopix. I'm your host, PAPISONGO. Have a blessed day. Remember, you're always in the mix with Gaytopix. I'm PAPISONGO. Have a blessed day.